Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Up for the Journey. So today, as the title says, we are going to show you 6 often overlooked maintenance tips. And right now, I'm prepping number 1. Hang tight. Alright, so this is not going to be specifically DIY. We're just going to show you really quickly what we're going to do. We're not going to go through the whole process. We're just kind of showing you maybe something you might want to add on your checklist, like once a season or once a quarter, depending on how often you use your sink and your bathroom. What we're using here is the Lexol elastic sealant. We like this because it's flexible. Obviously with the RV, all the joints and everything's moving constantly at one time. We actually got recommended this by a mobile repair guy. He likes this for a lot of things, you know, around the shower, around the sink, because those things are a one-piece, you know, counter, and then the bowl sits in and it has a tendency to shift. This moves with it, so it doesn't create a crack, and it works very, very well. We haven't had any issues yet. So let's go. Let's give this a shot. Alright, not too bad. Definitely want to go over that little area again. So as you can see, it applies pretty easily. It's pretty clean and clear. Whoa, I took my eyes off the game here. Oh, it does. Look at that. Nice and clean. Wow. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's pro. Look at that. Boom. And as you can see, a nice clean edge. Let me fix the camera. There you go. Nice clean edge. Doesn't look like anything's there. Now if you can see those little bubbles, that's where water is, a little bit of water underneath. But nice and clean. I'm going to finish these ones up and we'll go into the bathroom. So one thing to make a note about the Lexol, you can probably, ooh, I just got blinded, looked at the skylight. You can probably hear the fan going on. This stuff does have a little bit of an odor, so you definitely want to be ventilated. You know, if you're in the bathroom doing it, turn the fan on. You know, we have the AC on right now just because it's hot Florida, but also too, I turned the vent on, the fantastic fan over the sink here. So one more look. Nice and clean all the way around. And this stuff sets up pretty quickly. You can see there's a couple little spots there, but all in all, it looks good. Here we go, going into the bathroom. Okay, we are in the shower. So hopefully you can see this. I don't know, you know, white on white background with the GoPro. We didn't have to do all of the caulking here because it was not as moldy, but we just took it off down the lower parts where there's a lot of drippage and where the shower will actually hit. So as you can see, I'm just going to do the bottom, come up here, go to the other one, kind of halfway, again about chest high, waist high, and then just go down. The other thing you want to look at too is right here where your shower faucets are. This is just a piece of plastic screwed onto here, and then there's a gap back here, and you definitely want to caulk that because that is open back there and you don't want any water to have a steady little drip going there. So you really don't have to do the bottom. You can, but you just want to definitely do around the sides in there. So that's what I'm going to hit. So as you can see, it's hard to see because it's actually clear, but I just put the caulking down. Caulking, overlooked maintenance tip number 1. Let's move on to number 2. Lily, are we down in your area? So Lily's staring at me like crazy because I'm down by where her food is. And there's a bag of her food there, and she's over here just It's just eyeballing it. What is that, Lily? Yeah, she knows. And then her tub of food is over there. As you can see, we are under the sink. And what are we gonna do under the sink? Now, while you're under here, I guess you could check for leaks. But the main thing I want to talk about is your fittings. A lot of people don't check the fittings here, and this can cause a little bit of a slow leak, which may in turn wet the wood here, get soft, and then have problems down the road. So what I'm gonna do, basically it's real easy. There's a visual kind of a thing, and then you just feel to make sure everything's tight. Those are glued. That's your air relief. But mainly you want to check these. See, that one I could turn just a little bit. But tip number 2, check your plumbing fixtures. Go into the bathroom and check your P-trap for your bathroom sink as well. And if you have the luxury, our old RV, we were able to get underneath the shower sink, or the shower pan in the shower. It had a little door, and we were able to go under there, stick our arm in there, and fix all the P-trap and stuff like that under there. So if you have that luxury, go ahead and do that as well. But yeah, number 2, check your plumbing fittings, make sure all the connections are tight, and let's go on to number 3. What we're gonna check, if you haven't already, depending on who's cooking in the RV, is the smoke alarm. You just want to check if we just kind of open it up, give a visual, make sure nothing looks burnt. You know, you got your battery here, and the best way to test it is there's a button. God, is that gonna work here? Okay, so I saw blinking lights here. God. Yeah, it's blinking, it's good. You don't want this thing to go off, it is so loud. O2 propane gas detector, you want to make sure that's good too. You can test that, but I don't want to put that sound on the video. So in coordinates with those things, in safety, definitely check your fire extinguishers. Make sure all the dates are good on them. Make sure none of the pins are pulled off to the side, and make sure they're still intact, and you know, kind of undo your straps and make sure they're good. So in our case, we have 3. We have one down there by the door, I have one in the bedroom, and then our third one is, well, right there underneath the sink. So check sure, you know, make sure the gauge is still good. This thing says full. So those are the things you want to check and make sure they're all right. What are you doing down there?
I think that's a different one than that fire extinguisher. Like one, when I read the owner's manual that we bought, but I think that one was for something different, like electrical or
possibly
something.
Yeah, there's different kinds of fire extinguishers for electrical, for kitchen.
So
and
probably should refresh and know what that's for.
Yeah, maybe. It's still for a fire.
Yeah. But what kind of fire?
Well, the hot kind. So number 4, what do you got for us, babe?
Cleaning the outside, which needs to be cleaned, and then also we clean our filters. I just run them under water, let them dry, and then put them back up. Same thing with this, and then we also clean our
screens up here
on the fans.
Yeah, and you know, this one on the outside is not protected by a cover, so this one gets a little dirtier, whereas the one in the bathroom has a cover, so it really doesn't get that much dirty. It's more on the inside for the intake that gets sucked up. So we just take it down, scrub it off, hose it down, and it gets clean. So as you can see, Renee's gonna pull this one down.
I just try to wipe in here. Just collects.
Yeah, as you can see, some of the stuff are a little dirty. Tip number 4, check your filters in your AC and your vents. Number 5 next, right?
Outside.
Outside. Okay, we are now outside, so I apologize if you hear some wind noise. The GoPro does really well with blocking the wind noise, but it is coming right behind me, and I'm gonna do my best to try to get it blocked. We are gonna talk lubrication, and for this one, everybody knows they lubricate their awnings, they lubricate the slides, but one thing people forget to lubricate is their steps. Now, this is obviously the fold down kind, or the fold out kind. You know, you got one, I can't fold that because Lily's leash is there, and then it folds in. So all these little joints, these little pivot points, while out underneath, they all get road grime. So what we're gonna do, as you can see, I got some lube there. This is just your white lithium grease. This works really, really well. I just kind of tap some on the pivot points there, and it works really, really good. This is a little bit messy because of the nozzle on this thing, but you get the point. And then what you want to do is basically fold it and work it in there. And it ultimately just protects, woo, got the sunlight, ultimately just protects the pivot points from rust. And if you're in the northern area where they use salt on the ground and it rains, you know, the salt comes up and it'll corrode those joints, and then just protection. So number 5, check your pivot points on your steps. Now, if you do have the kind that go in here and they fold down, obviously there's going to be a hinge down here. You want to check those as well. So any kind of moving parts on your steps, keep those things from squeaking and breaking. Let's do the last one, number 6. All right, I'm gonna go in the shade over here for number 6. The wind did decide to pick up, so again, I apologize if there's a lot of wind noise. So number 6, we are gonna be using more lubricant, but this time graphite lubricant. Okay, I'm gonna try to stand this way so it blocks some of the wind, but graphite lubricant is for locks. Now, a lot of our locks that are on the outside, whether it be your door, your baggage doors, and your cargo doors, those locks, even though they have the little door slide, they still get exposed to a lot of rust and a lot of elements. Now for us, we have the RV locks everywhere except for under the bed, because it is just one of those. So this one we tend to lube a little bit more. So graphite lube, you just put it in there. Basically it's powder. I hope you can get this. Hopefully you got that. But basically you just kind of stick it in there, and it's so fine it just goes in. Like, you don't even know it's working until you slam a key in there. But we lube ours pretty regularly. Put that in there, just give it a couple puffs, and sometime you'll see some graphite pop out. But that's what you want to do. Get yourself some little graphite lube. It's powdered graphite. Basically it's like pencil shavings. All right, so everybody, thank you for watching our 6 often overlooked maintenance tips. Hopefully one of those 6 spawned a light bulb and said, oh yeah, we've never looked at that. Or maybe you know this already, who knows? But if you found something helpful, please go ahead and give a thumbs up to the video. Also, please consider subscribing. We definitely have been putting more consistent, helpful videos. And once you subscribe, it definitely lets us know that people are interested in watching, and we're going to keep pumping out the content. So also check us out on Instagram at Up For The Journey. And I think that's it. Till next Monday, this is Scott and Renee. We are out of here. We'll see you next week.